Bala. All right, there we go. Happy Friday, entrepreneurs. We're so happy and grateful that you are once again here with us during this live interview. And I'm so excited to get us started with a brand new guest, Mr. Alfredo Bala. And before I'm going to give a heartwarming introduction, because we are down here with a very, very accomplished man. I'm so much respect for the achievements. But before we're going to dive into his track record and all of the wisdom and value that we're going to present, I wanted to say thank you for tuning in to the Entrepreneur Speaker Series. This is your place to get your value, your wisdom from highly accomplished people, together with my co-host, Angeline Waymeyer here. Once again, welcome for joining us back into another episode. And today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, is why everybody in 2021 should have a side business. But more specifically, today we're going to be diving into the direct sales industry and how this can make an impact in your life, in the life of your family and the people around you. So with no further ado, I first want to welcome Angeline, and thank you so much for co-hosting another episode.
Wow, Rob, I love your energy. Thank you so much. And the orange shirt, it's like really pump me up.
Thank you. Yeah, I decided on some contrast today, right? I'm more like for Alfredo, I'm more like a black and white type of guy. So
is that right?
Yeah.
That is right. So I get these complaints. So I'm trying to put some color into the mix. So.
And also, thank you so much. And I also would love to say thank you, Alf, for being our show today. And I was very impressed by your journey in terms of entrepreneurship. Would you please give us, our audience, a little bit background about yourself, like where you originally started and how do you get started in your entrepreneurial journey?
All right. Well, thank you, Angeline. Thank you, Rob. It's such a pleasure. It's an honor, really. It's a privilege to be able to be on this show. One of the things you realize after a while is that, you know, if you've been blessed, you need to bless others. And what I'm going to talk about is something that's blessed me quite a bit. It started out 40 years ago on a Monday night. I got a phone call from a good friend of mine that I had barely known, but he got my name somewhere. And for 3 months, he sat on it and then eventually called me on a Monday night, said, "What are you doing Tuesday night?" I said, well, the same thing I'm doing Monday night, right? I mean, usually you're sitting in front of a television and doing what normally everybody does. He said, well, would you be willing to come to a meeting on Tuesday night, Holiday Inn, Jefferson's Boulevard, Warwick, Rhode Island, in a November night? And I did. I went. It was rainy. It was sleety, like it is usually in the Northeast. But I decided to go anyways. In my beat up, Ford, yellow Ford, Ford Mustang, but not really. It was 2-color tone. They say yellow and rust, right? Drove into this parking lot of this hotel and saw a lot of Cadillacs in the parking lot. Went in, and that's when I sat in the back of the room because I didn't think I even belonged there. At that time, I was working as a factory worker for $1.65 an hour. Angeline, I share your background because I'm a first generation immigrant in this country. Portuguese immigrant, came in straight to the factory while working, going to school at night. And in this room, I sat in the back and I didn't feel like I belonged there, but they just talked about a dream. They talked about this business model and I just fell in love with it. Wow. And that was 40 years ago. And I have never looked back, and everything that has happened to my life, my next generation and next generation is all impacted by that one meeting, that one phone call.
And by the way, Al, you said that day was raining, right? Some people would say, I'm not going to go. So at that moment, what is that, the little voice or the instinct asks you, hey, Al, you're going to be there? What makes you go?
I don't know what you call it fate, call it, but I knew when I left that something special was about to happen. I didn't know what it was. I just got that call to be there. I had all the reason not to, because I didn't have a good car. It was not just rain. It was just like snow and all the types of things that you have in New England that you don't want to be on the road when it's happening. But I went anyways. And to your point, Angeline, we always have plenty of excuses to why you don't do things, but all you need is one reason. And I don't know if that reason was just a voice I heard when I was 12 years old that said, "You will be something special," and I believed it, and didn't realize that that meeting that night was going to be the beginning of something special in my life.
And how long you've been doing that business? How long?
Well, I've been involved for 40 years now. 40 years. 28 years I was in the field. I did what everybody does in direct selling. I started from, my black little, case with all my products, going to my neighbors and my relatives, selling soap. I was selling soap. Now, we say there was hope in soap, but it was
hope in soap.
But that's why I started. Literally started. Never knew that I had any sales skills. I just had a dream. I had a dream that I wanted to do something special. My parents had paid a very big price to come to this country, and I knew I needed to do something more than just normal. So whatever it was, and this seemed to be this opportunity, this amazing opportunity to be in business for myself, even though I had no idea what it meant, what I had to do. I just did, took the first steps, and then eventually, my first month, I was the #1 salesperson in our group. And I didn't even know. I didn't know I had done much, but that was just enough success to keep me going. Sometimes the universe will throw you a bone. That's why the magic is in getting started, right? You get started, and then all of a sudden, 40 years later, you're still doing it.
Wow.
So I have this question, like, Al, at that time, years ago, you were kind of like a pioneer, right? People, they don't know much about direct sell. And then I read the book. The reason I know about direct sell, because I read the book by Robert Kiyosaki, The Business of the 21st Century.
Exactly, yes.
Right? So I want to ask you, especially we are in the 21st century. So why in nowadays it's even more important for, I believe, every household, right? They need to have a business.
Well, there's so many angles you can come at it from. The #1 reason I think is the middle class has been decimated in this country and around the world. I think, Rob, you were talking about it earlier. There's never been a bigger need for people to create an additional source of income, a diversified source of income, a second income, because we haven't kept up with inflation. If you look at the charts over the last 50 years, the middle class is devastated. And for that reason, I'm sure you've all heard of this gig economy, $1.4 trillion gig economy. 70 million Americans are involved in some kind of a gig, some kind of a side hustle, because they realize you can't get enough freedom and rewards from just having a job. It's just not what it used to be. A job took care of you through your twilight years. Today, you are dispensable. Today, they need you for that skill. They need you for a time. They're not taking responsibility for your long-term future and prosperity and what you're going to leave for your children. That's not what's happening. So I think more than anything else, that's what's making side hustles, gigs, and obviously the direct sales is, in my mind, the ultimate gig. And I'll explain why. But people need to do that. The second thing is, Angeline, and that's something I've been learning from you as well, which is the tax code. The tax system is built for people who have businesses, for people who are creating value, for people who are creating employment, right? So if you don't have a business of your own, you're missing out on those opportunities. And they were made for, business, for entrepreneurs.
Yes.
The government will invest in you if you want to be an entrepreneur. Why not?
Yeah.
Right. So anyways, from those two sides, I would say that's why people need to have a business today. But the third one I would say is this: it's never been easier in the history of humanity for people like you and I, normal, average people, to have a strong, multi, 6-7 figure global business, because we have something called the greatest tool of productivity ever invented for mankind, a cell phone.
Yeah.
And from this cell phone, not only a cell phone, a smartphone. From the smartphone, you have the ability to literally control an empire from your home.
Yes.
So anyways, we're just scratching the scratch on the scratch of what's going to be happening in the next 5 to 10 years for those who wake up, like you are helping people wake up and realize you need to think like an entrepreneur, right? So a long answer to a short question, but I think very valid question. And I think your listeners are very lucky to be in this environment, hearing these things and realizing it's time to go do something with your life that's going to bring you greatness, the greatness that we all of us have in us anyways.
And on that note, Alfredo, I was wanting to ask you because, you started 40 years ago. And for some of us, and some of the viewers watching, they may not even be old enough to remember those times. But can you take us back to 40 years ago? Because I think it's very evident because we are blessed with internet today, like with technology. So there's a lot of information available and where we can get educated. So I think that a lot of people understand today in the opportunities that are present. But could you make us and take us maybe back into memory lane? How was this 40 years ago? Like, can you give us some shots of your life back then when you started the direct sales? How did business look like for you back then?
Yeah, because you don't have technology and all that stuff. How'd you do that?
Such a great question. All right, so let me take you back 40 years. So 40 years ago, first of all, the company that provided the products really only provided the products to the top leaders. So top leaders would get their products from the company and the rest of us. So let me give you a snapshot of my week. On Sunday night, all my distributors would call me. So I had the whole list of products on these sheets with plastic covers, and I have a grease pen so that if they ordered a toothpaste, okay, this person ordered a toothpaste, one line for the toothpaste or a dish detergent or something. So we made all these lines on these pieces of papers. And then at the end, I had to take all of this, combine it all. This is my order now. Then I got to call my upline. And then my upline would then take my order. And then he would create his order who would go to be until it was somebody who would actually order it from the company. That was on Sunday night. So on Thursday night, then I would drive from Framingham, Massachusetts to Bristol, Rhode Island, which is about an hour and a half. I would drive. And while I was driving, I was filling out this form that said, okay, PV, BV, wholesale, retail, right? For every single product and what I ordered. And I'm adding all these numbers by hand while I'm driving to get there. And now in his garage, there's a box. It's my products. I check my box. I have all my products. I write a check to my upline. And you hope that check is going to be good, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'll get to that later. So then I take my box. I drive to my house, to my garage. And then my people would come in and they all have their little boxes in there. And they'll pick up their stuff. And 20 people will write me a check.
Wow.
And then they take it to their house, and then their people would come in. So a toothpaste that was ordered on Sunday night might take 3 weeks to get to the end customer because they had to go through all these people in between. Guys, this is how we build financial freedom for us. We believe we could be financially free by doing all this crazy stuff.
Wow.
Commitment. It's
now,
a commitment.
watch this. So one of the people gave me a check that was not good because it happened. That means my check was not good. And then my upline's check was not good. And then all the way to the person who wrote a check to the company. And the company would say, okay, we're going to put you on cash because your check is not good. So now you have to buy in cash everything that you need so that people would come to your house. Now, and then you get to be a leader. When you're a leader, they will bring the truck to your house. Okay, so now they'll bring the truck to your house. You put the stuff in your garage. But if, Rob, you need one toothpaste, I can't buy one toothpaste from the company. I have to buy a case because I'm a direct distributor now. I'm up there now. I got to buy a case of 12 so you can get one, and I'm going to keep 11, hoping that somebody is going to order the other 11 sometime.
Yeah, that's an inventory.
Inventory. Right? So that's how sometimes we got a bad name. Because they said, well, people had garage full of products. That's not true. It was just that it was a supply chain system that was built that way, and we as people who were the leaders and were making a little bit more money in the system, we had to invest to make sure we had the products that people needed. Folks, that's how we build it. Now, at the end of the month, the company would pay me a check, and then now I had to go write a check to every one of my people, and they would have to write a check to every one of their people, who had to write a check to every one of their people.
Wow.
That's how it was done.
That's the payroll system, paper payroll.
So, and guys, but we were excited because we knew it was my own business. I knew I could become financially free one day, and we were willing to do all those things. And literally, a lot of us became financial free doing this kind of a system.
Incredible.
Now, think about how good you have it today, right?
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that, because I think that especially for the younger viewers among our audiences, right? We have people that, they were born after nowadays in 2021, right? They may have been born after 2000 even. So for them to provide a little bit of contrast, right? It shows how lucky we are to be alive today. And I agree with your statement, right? 2021, you don't know how easy it is to start a business or to take control, to take measurements into your own hands, to create your own opportunity. So I love that you shared that.
Yeah. And Al, what do you think that contribute to your success? Because I bet many people join your direct sell, they all quit. They don't have the success that you have. And what separates the success in the direct sell and the person who they don't have any result? What same company, same comp plan, why the result is so dramatically different?
Well, you could say that about everything, right? There's people, millions of people are playing basketball today, but only a few hundred will ever achieve success. People go in the military. Some people stay and make it a career. Some people quit. Marriages, people get in, get out. Churches, people get in, get out. So in general, I mean, life is just about that. I mean, some people, not everybody is going to be with you for a lifetime. Some people are going to be with you for a season. The difference for me personally is I fell in love with the personal development part of our industry. Honestly, if I made no money whatsoever in our industry, I would have still stayed in there because of who I was becoming in that process. I walked into that room, 40 years ago, barely speaking English, really shy, not a people person, definitely not a salesperson. My mom is the most surprised person on earth of what I do for a living today, because she never in her wildest dream imagined that kid would be a person who actually would be doing what I'm doing right now, because that was not who I was. But when I walked into that room, and we call this the power of association. There's three powers that really, I think, helps us succeed in this industry. But one of them is the power of association. When I walked into that room and I saw all these people in their dark suits, white shirt, red tie, you thought you were at an IBM convention, but they respected their business. They dressed like they were in business. And some of them were doctors, some of them were lawyers, some of them were politicians. They were all very well-to-do people. That's why I said there was a lot of Cadillac in the parking lot. And as a young immigrant, my dream ever was one day I will own a Cadillac. Well, these people all own Cadillac. So the fact that I found people that were already where I wanted to be, and I was willing, I was teachable, I was willing to learn, and I was hungry for that knowledge. I still remember the day my dad walks into my bedroom. I'm 20 years old. I just started in business, and I had 12 cassette tapes on my nightstand. And my dad literally looked at it and said, "Son, will you ever make enough money to pay for these cassettes? What? You just started. You're spending money on these cassettes, and are you gonna even make enough money to pay for the cassettes?" But the cassettes was my $1 million education.
Who was it?
The cassettes was Zig Ziglar. The cassettes was all people that were people in the industry, people outside the industry. I grew up with Zig Ziglar. I grew up with people like that. I grew up with Dennis Waitley. They don't even know that. And today, to even write a book with Dennis Waitley is just blows my mind because I listen to those tapes. I used to drive an hour to work, an hour back. And sometimes I wish the drive was longer because I would just get so into that information. For me, it was like a whole new world opened up. I still remember my first cassette. It was called Rubber Band by Paul Kahn. Rubber band, because human beings were like rubber bands. Unless you stretch them, they have no value. Unless you're stretched. Listen, if you're listening today, learn this. As an entrepreneur, you're going to be stretched, but like a rubber band, you only have any value when you're stretched. So that concept of positive thinking, negative thinking, that I fell in love. I became a fanatic of personal development. And for me, whether I made $1 in Amway or not, I would have stayed just for that.
Wow.
Right. So, and most people that came into my sphere, into our environment and left, I'll tell you something, they always left better than we found them.
Yeah. So good. So good. Now I can tell that you're providing tremendous value. I mean, you are already doing it here on this episode. But can we take you fast forward, right? Before we took you back 40 years ago when you got started, but you just mentioned it, right? Amway. And this is part of the big success. So is Amway the company that you were a distributor for when you got started in the direct sales?
Yeah, I was involved with Amway for 28 years. I was very fortunate that through this process, I connected and teamed up with Mr. Bill Britt, who's my mentor, my rich dad, if you call me the rich dad, poor dad concept. Yeah. He was my rich dad. There was a few others. There was another gentleman as well, Gary Ayers. These people, the power of mentorship, the power of mastermind, you can't even imagine. And I know you guys teach it, and people sometimes wonder what you're talking about. Mastermind. That's why Think and Grow Rich is mastermind is what it's all about. It makes everything else work. Yeah. I was able to get in the mastermind of people that were way ahead of me, and they had the fruit in a tree. They had what I wanted down the road, and I was willing to be teachable, and I was willing to be in submission. And I don't mean submission like a doormat. In submission mentally to learn from them. So that then took me to literally traveling 100 countries. I opened 59 new markets, from China to Chile, from South Africa to Scandinavia. All of it because I made that first decision, and then I made another decision, and then I made another decision. Decisions determine your destiny for sure. But when I was at the peak of my corporate career, I was the youngest plant manager for Bose Corporation. I mean, I'm 28 years old, 29 years old. I got 300 people working for me. Most of them are MBAs. I just have a 2-year college degree in electronics. But because the books I was reading, because of the association I had at the time, the masterminds I was part of, I could manage people that had MBAs from Babson and other things. And because emotional intelligence will beat intellectual intelligence anytime. Emotional IQ, EQ will beat IQ any day. And I was getting EQ from the books. I was getting EQ from the environment, from the association, the masterminds I was part of. And that is what really eventually took me all over the world until 2007, when the opportunity came to work with this company I'm with right now, Manatech. So because they wanted to do the same thing. And it's a long story. Probably the toughest decision I ever made in my life, but probably one of the best decisions I made in my life, was to come in and take everything I had learned for 28 years and bring it in an area that was, I think, going to provide a different value for people, because health is your first wealth. And for me, a few things convinced me that this company had something so special that I wanted to, spend the second half of my life committed to getting that message out to as many people as I could, because I know it's something that really makes a difference in people's lives, literally, whether you leave or die, has to do. And Angeline is a big fan of this whole idea of, how nutrition and natural nutrition can impact your life in a big way. So that's why I'm here, and we're taking this thing to $1 billion, and that's what I'm excited about.
Beautiful. Because I always share with people like health and wealth, it's like your left hand and right hand. Which one is more important? They are important. You cannot have one or the other, right? And I have this today. I also want to debunk some of the myth that in this industry. I still remember when I was in China, and then my family started the Amway business, have the soap and all that stuff, right? And then I still remember, like, I feel some people like don't understand the business, so they have some misunderstanding about the business. Some people like call it like, oh, it's just a pyramid, it's a whatever pyramid scheme and things like that. And how can you give us some thoughts and how do you respond to that?
Okay, well, I think a lot of times people connect it to a pyramid because it's a concept of one person builds a network of people and it looks like a pyramid, but so does a corporate structure is a pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm at the top. I'm the CEO.
Yeah.
And then I got vice president, and then we got senior directors, and then we got directors, and then we got managers. It's a pyramid.
Yeah.
The church. There's one pope. There's a pyramid. The army is a pyramid. So pyramids are really very efficient ways to manage systems, right? I mean, that's what that is. It's just that's how that is. However, people have heard of Ponzi schemes. And there are such a thing as a Ponzi scheme. And unfortunately, the world has been rocked by too many Ponzi schemes, and people can't seem to separate Ponzi scheme from a legitimate direct selling, what we call a multi-level marketing system. And the multi-level marketing system is a compensation plan. The compensation plan is a multi-level, right? But the business model is simple. You have a manufacturer, you have a consumer, right? In a normal world, between the manufacturer and the consumer, you have middleman.
Yes.
You have a wholesaler, you have a jobber, you have an importer, an exporter, you have all these people in between. Usually the cost of a product is about 10 to 15% of the final cost. The other 85% is what we call cost of distribution. And cost of distribution can be a store you have to go to. They have to pay the rent. They have to pay the lights. They have to pay employees. They have to clean. They have to do all kinds of things to keep that store there. Well, and then there's a wholesaler. Well, there's a warehouse, and there's cost associated with that. And then there's another cost called the marketing cost. Sometimes 50% of a cost of a product is just marketing. You're not buying anything extra. You're paying for all the extra. So what they did in direct sale, they said, well, look, if there's a customer and a manufacturer, if we brought them together and you eliminate all the middleman, you have about 85% of the monies that are now available. And now what they do as direct sales company will share about 40 to 50% of that 85% with the person who's going to actually go out there and promote it. So now a consumer becomes what I call a prosumer. Prosumer. Really a promoter consumer.
Oh.
Right? Promoter consumer. We're prosumers. So Rob, yesterday you probably told somebody about a restaurant, about a movie, about Bitcoins, about you
the time
something, right?
Yes.
Most of the time we don't get paid for promoting.
Correct. Yes.
Right?
That's what I always say. I say I should get paid for this.
You should pay for But now through this system, by eliminating all this extra cost in the middle, now we can put the money into the hands of the consumer who now promotes the product, the prosumer.
Okay.
I mean, that makes so much sense, especially today when we understand now influencer marketing and we have all these tools to get in front of people like we never had before. Now we're rewarding those people who are doing the word of mouth, which is now, really accelerated by technology, right? Because our word of mouth, it's the oldest way of marketing. It's still the best way of marketing.
Yeah.
Right? Every brand is trying to get raving fans.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to give you some points. They're going to have a cute little app that you can get some points for sharing, for saying that. The direct sales industry has a built-in incentive for influencer marketing.
Beautiful.
When you ask the question, why are we more relevant today in 2021 than we've ever been in the last 100 years, is because today the concept of influencer marketing is mainstream.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, but now, Rob, if I'm gonna pay you to influence, but now you're gonna influence influencers who will influence influencers.
Yeah, you create that ripple effect.
You need an incentive plan that can reward everybody for the degree of total influence they create. Because when I talk to you, Rob, you are an influencer, but if you can influence other influencers, you're just now an influencer of influencers.
Yeah.
If I'm going to pay these influencers, I need to pay the influencer of influencers something else on the basis of what you did to bring these other influencers in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that per definition, that's what you consider. That's multi-level.
That's what they call multi-level. That's why it looks like a pyramid. But give me a break. Everything looks like a pyramid.
Yeah. And talking about, right, Amway, and I mean, I think Amway is one of the oldest network marketing companies in the country today, and probably the majority of people will recognize the brand, right? And what an incredible journey that Amway has gone through, right? And yes, they had some darker periods when they were trying to figure it all out with the rules and regulations, but in the end, they came out in a multi-billion-dollar organization. So can you talk to us a little bit about the concepts of marketing and the concepts of sales, right? Because we're talking about the business model is direct sales. So how does marketing is a big portion and a big part of what you do into making the sales, and why do these two go hand in hand?
Well, think about it. Most people think of network marketing or direct sales. Some people still have the notion of the Avon calling, the door-to-door concept. It's like, where have you been living? Under a rock? Nobody sells some people sell door-to-door. That's true. But today, and that's the difference between selling is I got to come in there in your house and Rob, like somebody came into my house and sold me a vacuum cleaner one time years ago. A special vacuum cleaner. They went through my house and they cleaned my house and they showed me all the stuff I didn't want to see.
It was the rainbow.
Right? Yeah, well, okay. And I love them, by the way. I own one. I still bought another one not long ago. It's a great vacuum cleaner. But he created a need and then he filled it. Okay? Because before he showed up my house, I had no idea what was living in my mattresses. And I didn't care. They were happy. I was happy. Everything was okay. Until he showed me what was in my mattress, then it's like, oh my God, I don't want that in my mattress. Now I need something. So salespeople, true sales about you create a need, you fill it, and so on. But today, in the industry I'm in, the need already exists. The need for nutrition already exists. I don't have to convince you of the need for nutrition. What I have to convince you of, what I got to present to you is enough information for you to make an intelligent decision about your nutrition in the future, right? So for me, that's more like marketing. That's really how I found you is marketing. Today, through social media and the internet and everything else, finding a perfect customer is easy. And your perfect customer is a person who already needs what you have. You don't have to really make him need this. He already needs this. You just have to show him why this is better for him than something else. Mm-hmm. And you do that through information. People want to be informed. People want to be aware, and then they want to make their own decision. Everybody buys. Nobody wants to be sold, and that's why I love direct selling. Even though we call it direct selling, maybe the emphasis should be more indirect, because you have a direct relationship with the manufacturer, and the marketing is how we position the brand, the perception of the brand. Is this safe? Is this efficacious? Is it based on science? That's the job we have to do to create the right, stories for people to understand the value of the brand. But then after that, it really is more a process of communication and information. It's informing the customers so they can make the best decision, and making sure that you always create value in their lives, that what you're presenting to them is really going to bring value to their lives. Because then if you provide value, they stay with you for a long time.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know if I answered that question directly, Rob.
Absolutely. Yeah.
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 So Al, we start with why everybody need to have a business, right? And then we talk about why direct selling it's one of the great vehicle to start, right? I'm a big believer because I read the book Business of the 21st Century, right? If you don't have any sales experience or personal improvement, this is a great way for you to start. So and I want to have a question for you is like, you've been in the industry for many years, right? Lots of experience. If people say, yes, Al, I agree, I need a business. Yes, direct sell, it's a way for me to start my own journey to create multiple streams of income. So what kind of some of the tips you can give it to them so that maybe can help them minimize the mistake that they're going to make, accelerate their success?
Right. Number one, I would say, it's always about find something you're passionate about.
Oh, okay.
Right. Find something you are passionate about, because your authentic self will always come out when you are personally passionate about what you're talking about. In my case, I'm passionate about health. I'm passionate about nutrition. I understand the connection between nutrition and health. I've been taking supplements for 40 years. I believe in it. It's easy for me to talk about it. And if it's easy for you to talk about it, you're going to have that much more influence when you do it. So that's number one. Number two, find the right company. Find the right company whose values matches your values. My first introduction to the industry, I had no idea. I had no way to compare anything.
Yeah.
One, as you said, Rob, the information was not even available. You didn't even know where to go find out.
Yeah.
If you didn't read in the newspaper, if you didn't go to the library and research it, you couldn't find it. Today you can.
Yeah.
So I would say before you marry yourself to a company, make sure that company really espouses the values that are dear to you. And that there's a good match between you and people say, well, how do I do that? Today it's easy. Just Google it. Now, don't believe everything you see on Google, but get closer. I mean, most CEOs like myself, I mean, we are online. We are on Twitter. We are on Facebook. I'm in Telegram. I'm online. I'm on Clubhouse. Talk to the guy that runs the company and ask him some very tough questions. And and understand that you the values marry. Okay, the number three, probably most important. Find a person that you can attach yourself to, who's already been where you want to be, and be in submission to that person in a sense of from a learning point of view. Be teachable, right? Your mentor, which is sometimes. And in our industry, your mentor is not going to be always the person who immediately brought you in. Your mentor may be, as soon as you get in, what you want to find is who is that person 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels removed from me who really has the biggest stake at my success. Because what I love about our industry is that when you come in, your success is important for somebody else's success, which is really, it creates a spirit, an environment of collaboration instead of competition. There's no competition here. The person who brings you in and somebody in that line really wants you to succeed, because the more you succeed, the more they succeed. Right? So find who that is and attach yourself to that person and learn from that person. The other thing is I do is be curious. Be curious about what you're involved in. Learn. Be a student. Be a continual student. I've been on this thing 40 years. But if I go to an event, I'm probably the one who's going to take the most notes than anybody else. You're never done learning. So get yourself in a place where you can learn. There's enough books. There's enough YouTube videos. There's enough. I mean, the information is out there. What I spent literally hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn. Yeah. You get all free today.
Yeah.
There's somebody out there that will give it to you almost for free. Now, from time to time, you might have to step in and go and pay some money to learn, to take your skill to that next level. But when you first start, most of the basic information is out there. We have a lot of very generous, I call them gurus in the industry, who are always willing to give you the information that will help you do the things that you need to do. And then the last part is get into action. Production before perfection. Don't wait until you are perfect to go do it. Go make a mess. Somebody will come and help you clean it up. But action. The magic is in getting started. The magic is to stay in action. Do something even if it's wrong, because even the wrong thing sometimes will bring you the right results as long as you're doing something. Most people, it's a sad thing to say, but most people who did not succeed in our industry, well, number one, never took it seriously, never took it like a real business.
Yeah.
We were just having that conversation. One of the reasons I'm bringing the guru of small businesses and large businesses, a business coach, Bill Walsh, is because I want to bring into our company the language of business, the normal language of business, not this jargon that we use in direct sales that nobody understands. They don't understand triple diamond, double diamond, and this and that. They don't understand that. Just talk to them the way that they understand, which is the way. If they open the Wall Street Journal, they'll hear the same words they're hearing in your business. Treat it like a business. Hobbies are expensive, but business will bring you many, many, many rewards, and eventually the ultimate reward. And the reason why I got involved in direct sales is the concept of residual income. There is nothing like direct, with this industry, the network marketing, to really get you residual income streams. I don't think there's anything else like it that you can get involved in with no money, with no experience, just with a little bit of hunger and connecting you to the right person. And before you know it, you got residual income coming in. And residual income is a beautiful thing. It's a seventh wonder of the world. It really is an awesome thing.
And you said getting to action. You said production before what? Perfection. And Al, I would add one thing to that. I would say once you find the right company, you believe in the company, value matches you, you have the right mentor, right? You take action and you're a lifetime learner. And one more thing I would add to that, it is you never, ever quit regardless when the tough time, right? I have seen people who never quit, they make millions. I've seen people who quit and they regret. And
yeah, I totally agree. I think when you get into, that's why the whole personal development mindset thing becomes very important, because you are your own worst enemy. You got these voices, these two voices that are talking to you. One says you can do it. The other one says what makes you think you can do it. And whichever one you feed becomes, the wolf that either, eats you or the one that propels you forward. Discipline your disappointments. Learn to discipline your disappointments. The idea, when you are an entrepreneur, and I love what Elon Musk said not long ago. He said, somebody asked him, said, look, what words of encouragement do you have for entrepreneurs? He said, well, if you need word of encouragement, don't be an entrepreneur. Right? Right? Yeah. Because, and as an entrepreneur, you got to be willing to realize that there's ebbs and flows, and your worst day could be your best day, and your best day could be your worst day. You don't know, right? Some will, some won't. So what, right?
This is all so incredibly valuable. And I want to take you back a little bit, Alfredo, when you were serving as the CEO of Britt Worldwide, right? You had tremendous success operating and opening markets in 60 plus countries, in generating over $500 million in sales, right? So can you talk to us about, right? We talked earlier about your journey, how you got started, but how do you get to a level in the direct sales industry? Like what is the mindset that comes with that to get it to that level and opening international markets and producing over $500 million?
Well, I think I need to make some clarifications, because I was working with Mr. Bill Britt and helping him open these countries for his organization. So that organization built, actually the number should be billions of dollars today. Wow. So for me, really, it was really how to recreate a system that was already working in the US and adapting it all over the world. like we opened it in China, we opened it in India, we opened it in Russia, we opened it in South Africa, we opened it in all over Central South America, we opened it in all over Europe. From Poland in 1991, after the wall fell in Poland, and then all the way through the rest of Eastern Europe and Ukraine and Russia and everything else. So the mindset was really my deep belief in this industry and what it provides for people. On a personal level, I probably paid a major price of my own life and so on, because I was so consumed with this passion to bring the concept of free enterprise and entrepreneurship all over the world. Imagine landing in Poland, 1991. The wall just fell in 1990. I mean, they just came out of communism, and we show up with soap. We're going to teach people how to be soap salesmen. But it was not what we were doing. We were actually bringing the dream. The dream. We were bringing, we were helping people dream again and see the possibilities. And we were giving them a vehicle to be able to do it with. And we were bringing in all of that personal development stuff that, we had been learning for a long time. So that is something that, it stays with you for the rest of your life. If you're going to add value to the world, for me, that was my way of adding value to the world. Just rekindling that dream in people's lives was just a big deal. And that's what drove me. Literally, we were opening 5 to 6 countries a year. I would fly from Chile all the way back to Slovakia and open Chile one day, and then be in Slovakia 2 days later, opening Slovakia. And you never thought about it. You never thought about the personal, physical price you were paying. You were just so excited by the idea of bringing this hope and this ability to dream again to people all around the world who really, because when a human being loses that ability to dream, they have lost everything. George Washington said most men, they die at 25 and they buried at 75. Because the day you stop dreaming, the day you stop having that hope for better life, it's the day you died.
Yeah.
And I want to mention that I think it's very obvious here that you bring so much passion to everything you do. I mean, you can tell that even within this episode here, and how much energy you put in. And that's something I personally value a lot myself, because unfortunately, we see this a lot around us, people that even in the responses when you ask them, how are you doing today, right? It's more like, it's just another day. But where's that passion, that excitement that you once had, right? To go out and create something for yourself. So, Alfredo, do you think that is part of the success and how people, and especially entrepreneurs, keep striving for all those years consistently? Do you think it comes from this deeper belief on that you're building a better world?
Absolutely. I mean, I think you're right on, Rob. Your why. I mean, we've all heard that when the why is big enough, there's no how in the world will make an impact. And it is this deeper. I mean, every human being has this deep desire to make a difference in the world. I mean, I think if you think about the hierarchy of needs of Maslow, the Maslow hierarchy of needs, at the very top of that pyramid is self-actualization.
Yeah.
Every human being wants to reach that level of self-actualization, and self-actualization is when your life makes a difference in the life of others. Right? I mean, there's a deep yearning, I think, in every human being to do that. Unfortunately, very few of us have had the opportunity, the privilege, the blessing of finding a vehicle that allows you to really explode your greatness, and in that, being able to also, show others how to also bring their greatness.
Yes.
Mandela said, the world doesn't gain for you playing small. You can't, when you play small, you're actually, giving other people a reason to play small.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
But when you play big, then you give others the hope that they can play big, and then the whole world is better when everybody plays bigger than they do now.
Yeah. So what I think me and Rob, our biggest takeaway today from you, Al, is your passion, your belief, and your drive to make a difference, to serve the world. And I want to say thank you for bringing that passion, that inspiration into us. I'm very excited because I never seen you talk so passionate about it, you know? Wow, you really wow me today. Now,
well, thank you. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be able to do this, and I hope you understand. It's not a show. It's what's kept me going for 40 years, and another 40 years ahead of us. We are blessed, Rob and Angeline, and we're all blessed to have this platform that we can really make a difference in other people's lives.
Yeah.
And that's really this is why we do these shows as well, Alfredo, because we align with this vision into serving and to giving back and to bringing incredible thought leaders and accomplished people, because you talked about a sense of hope and hope to dream again, right? So in entrepreneurship, this is the same thing. People are in the process of building their business, and it comes with ups and downs, right? But what is that light at the end of that journey? And that's like stories like yours in this incredible track record and the things that you have accomplished and the countries that you are able to impact. So from that perspective, I'm really grateful that you were here on the show with us today and in sharing your journey and enlightening us with all the wonderful tips and value that you put into today's episode. But I know that this is not the end, because we always do something special, right? So maybe, Angeline, do you want to talk today about what we'd like to do on the show for the community?
Oh, thank you so much. And first of all, we want to respect your time, Al. And I know you recently just launched your new book, right? And it's with a lot of industry leader. And then you bring a very, very special gift for our community.
Right.
Would you like to share?
Well, all right. Sure. Well, with a lot of pleasure. We just launched this. My good friend Kyle Wilson, it was the person who really architected all of this. But I was very fortunate to be on a book with Mr. Darren Hodley, Dennis Waitley, Tom Ziegler, and Les Brown, Kyle Wilson, Brian Tracy, John Asaraf, Mark Victor Hansen, and Alfredo Bala. So the first 25 people who ask, I will send them this book. It's free, and we'll even pay for the shipping. That's my contribution. My contribution to this community. I really, I'm proud of both of you for what you're doing. You are young people who have this fire for entrepreneurship and for helping people become the better version of themselves. So I want to help with that. So I think you're going to get a lot of value from this book. Some amazing people. Some of my mentors are in here, and I was just very fortunate to be able to have a little piece in this great, awesome book here.
Work of literature, absolutely. And we're going to make sure that we're going to distribute this and make sure that people know where to get their hands on the copy, because I know we have only 25 copies available. And I know this is a very, very hot commodity.
Well, it was Amazon. It was Amazon #1 category. So it's on Amazon, but the first 25 people, you get this free. I will ship it to you as well. So
beautiful.
I hope that helps and helps continue to move this thing forward. Love what you guys are doing, really do.
And for the people watching this and they got inspired by your story, Alfredo, and they want to follow your journey, where you mentioned that before, but can you tell us again, if people want to follow you and connect with you in your journey, where do they find you online? Where can they connect with Alfredo Bala?
Well, actually, we're just redoing my website called alfredobala.com. That's going to be available pretty soon. I'll be putting a lot of my history and blogs and podcasts and other things in there. But I'm on Facebook, Alfredo Bala. I'm also on Facebook as Manatech CEO. I'm on Facebook as Al Bala. So Alfredo Bala, Al Bala, Manatech CEO. I'm on Clubhouse. I'm on Instagram. I'm a little bit everywhere that I can be, because anywhere we can touch people and make a difference, I want to be there.
Beautiful.
Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And in the near future, hopefully we can invite you again to our show.
You bet. I'll be very, very happy, and it's a privilege. It really is an honor. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Rob, it's nice meeting you, sir, for the first time.
Absolutely.
We can meet some other time.
Yep.
Absolutely, yes. And to our audiences, right? If you were tuning in live today, we're going to distribute this information so you can get your hands on this generous gift by Alfredo to take one of those copies of this incredible book. Follow Alfredo Bala on Clubhouse, guys. If you're not on Clubhouse yet, right? Take that opportunity and listen, because that's where the conversation is happening. But connect with him mainly. Visit his website, because if you want to stay connected, obviously this is a very accomplished entrepreneur. And I would say, if you got value out of today's episode, right, pay it forward by leaving us a review here directly on the episode, or let us know your big takeaway. And let us know, and Alfredo can get to see it, right? Angelina and myself, we will answer these comments personally, but pay it forward by introducing the Entrepreneur Speaker Series to one of your guests that can benefit from this, because we are here to serve. And every single week, we're bringing you a phenomenal guest with an incredible story to share more value, wisdom, and inspiration. So for now, I thank you for watching. Stay with us. Tune in next week, same time, same place. And thank you so much, Alfredo, for being our honored guest on episode 43 of the Entrepreneur Speaker Series.
Thank you. Have
Thank you so much.
day. Bye.
Bye, everyone.